There used to be a time when kids, when they used to go to school, that their role model used to be their father. That he was a hardworking man. He would come on or stuff like that and do things. And when the teacher asked him who was your hero or your role model, and we was in school, a lot of kids would talk about who had a father in their life. They would used to say their fathers. I think today role models, even when we were little, I remember watching stuff like Scarface with Al Pacino, and I wanted to be like Scarface, be out here selling and getting all this money and stuff.
Good day and welcome to the Get Established Show. We welcome you back to come and have a conversation with us today. Today's topic is, where are our role models? Something to think about. So we're going to have this discussion. We hope you guys are engaged. I'm going to pass it over to my brother, Raymond Shine, in the house. What's up, Raymond?
All right, what it is. You know what it is. It's about that time once again. I'm here with my brothers, and of course, we all here to, bring y'all awareness and support of our community, building within and beyond it. All right, starting off, my man, D. Jones.
Grand Rises, everyone.
All right, and as always, chilling on the side, my man, Chiller.
Grand Risings.
And of course, the man on the boards, B.I. to the double G.
In the house.
All right, so as always, we're not even gonna hold the people up because we got a juicy topic here to discuss. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to my man Chiller so he can go ahead and introduce the topic of today.
Okay. Our youth struggle with their identity and how to navigate through adversity in life is a fact. It makes me pose the question where our role models are at. Did you peep that? Let me pass it back over to my brother.
What's up, everybody? Where are our role models at? First of all, let's discuss what a role model is. A role model, someone who others look up to, or someone who has attributes and traits that make him or her a good person to try to be like. That's a role model. With that being said, gentlemen, let's dive right into it. Why is it important that we have role models?
Well, I mean, when you have a role model, you have someone to, a path to follow, a path to be on. Otherwise, you're trying to figure everything out on your own. It's kind of like having a coach or, a mentor, but it's actually from a distance. I think it's important to have people to model yourself after, because otherwise you just, floating around. But that's my perception of a role model.
All right, I mean, I think it's somebody to be able to give you, guidance, somebody to be able to, show you whatever way that whatever way that a young person or, a person who's looking to, fashion themselves after, to be able to say, okay, well, this is the type of person that I would like to be, or those traits that person exhibit. That's what I would like to be, or I would like to have in my life. So you model yourself after that person.
There used to be a time when kids, when they used to go to school, that their role model used to be their father. That he was a hardworking man. He would come on or stuff like that and do things. And when the teacher asked him who was your hero or your role model, and we was in school, a lot of kids would talk about who had a father in their life. They would used to say their fathers. I think today role models, even when we were little, I remember watching stuff like Scarface with Al Pacino, and I wanted to be like Scarface, be out here selling and getting all this money and stuff. I mean, we was always influenced by people on TV and movies. I mean, I wanted to be a comedian like Richard Pryor, be up there on the stage joking and doing different stuff. And then when rap came out, I wanted to be like LL Cool J rapping and different stuff. You know, it was all Rakim and all these idols. We always had people who's influenced us, and we used to look up at people. Even in sports, you wanted to play like Michael Jordan, or you wanted to be like Magic Johnson or somebody and stuff. It's always we had these people who was our role models, because these was the images of people that we used to see on TV, listen on music, watch on stage, and different stuff. And I think our role models, some of them wasn't bad examples as it enhances today. But I mean, even when you go back, you had role models like Martin Luther King, you had role models like Malcolm X, you had a lot of different role models. Even in the day and era of just the last presidency, you could even say Obama was a role model for blacks. You know what I'm saying? That we could be president, because it wasn't even reality in our mind at one time. We would never see a black president in our lifetime, and we did. You know what I'm saying? That a person that at least had our skin tone that was up there, as the president. So it's like, who is our role model today? Who can we look up at this moment to say who's a good role model? Because that is a great example that could uplift our people. Who's a great example that we could follow in a direction. But I am not going to take that. Might be one of Darius' questions. I don't want to keep going forward like that.
No, that's an interesting what you said about all of that. It makes me want to pose this question that I have next. Do you think there's more value in having a role model that you know personally, like your parents or a mentor, versus someone you don't know, like a celebrity?
Uh, it is, because the thing about it, a lot of people put fake images out here, and we only see the outer person. But when you got somebody that it's like when you know somebody and you watch somebody who just come through and do something, or your father, your brother, or your cousin, or somebody. That's, to me, is a better role model to follow than somebody you just see on TV, because we only hear it. I mean, we could even use Nipsey Hussle and his community. They watch him go from one thing, and he was helping the community and doing things. And even though, to me, he was a master before his murder, after his murder, everybody felt, because they got to hear about what this dude was doing in his community and how it was messed up. And we all felt that, because what his action or what he was doing, even though we didn't know, a lot of us didn't know the ins and out of what he was doing. But when his murder happened, we got to see more about, hey man, this dude was doing that's messed up. God, dang, he would do, you learned them. And I think when you got somebody right there that you can watch and see what they doing, like, yo, man, I watching him. He got a business, man. He's doing this, man. I watch how he carries himself. He's doing good. I want to be like him. I want to have a business too. And sometimes some cats, take you under their wing and make you the apprentice, and they show you. It's just like a dude you see get a barber shop, and he get another barber shop. You be like, man, I want to cut hair, and he bring you in the shop, and that's a role model. And another young cat, he teach how to cut, and he go gets a shop. So it's like, we do have certain role models in our neighborhood, but a lot of kids got these other expectations to be something that people are not great role models. We got some good role models, and we got bad role models.
Got it.
So
What
what?
you
That's
gonna
what I
say?
was about to say.
Okay, go ahead, Big.
That where there's good role models, there's also bad role models, depending on how vulnerable a kid can be. If they're driven by certain things like money and flashiness and all of that, they can easily get swayed into some stuff that's really not, potentially not for them. And from the crime aspect, because I'm gonna tell you, when you young man and you see the dope boys out there getting money, you see they got nice cars, they got the hottest chicks rolling with them. That's enticing for a young man, because that's what we all, that's one of the things that drive us. One of the things that drive men is the more money and more women. Um, but that can take you in the wrong direction, because it seems right now, um, the lack of well, the lack of visibility, I'll put it that way, in role models, because sometimes you have to be in certain environments. It puts our community is in a very, very dangerous place, because we have our young men are in the streets killing each other, which means we're gonna have less men around, because they're being murdered by each other, and then the ones that aren't being murdered are going to jail, and we have a very small percentage. Well, we have a percentage that still does move on and can do great things. But look at where we could be if our young men weren't being eliminated in the streets, primarily number one by themselves. You know,
All right, yeah. I mean that is very very prevalent. As far as how men look at these these guys on the street. Because they don't have anybody that's at home. To look at and model. But I'm gonna go kind of back to what D was talking about as far as whether it's you know the celebrity or the parents or whatever. But I say as far as the parents, um, and when you have that father, or that mother that's that really embraces their child and really you know gives their child, pours into their child, then that child is going to look at that parent as their role model, because that person is the closest one to them, and they're going to be willing to look at them because they see, you know, the care and attention that they're getting from that parent. So it's natural for that child to look at that parent as the person, I mean, of course, as they get older, depending on how if that level of care and love still present and being and is being seen by that child, that'll determine how much more that they'll still look at that parent as that role model. Because of course that as a child gets older, they start to look at other aspects of life and see that going back to that look at that dope boy in the street, or that girl that she's wearing the nice things and stuff like that, so they'll look at that and say, hey, oh, that's that chick Nicki Minaj or whatever, she flashed and got her all this stuff like that and all that, so they look at that stuff like that you know
So I add this. I think it is better to have a role model that you can physically talk to, physically interact with, and there's nothing wrong with looking up to a celebrity or I want to be like Mike, somebody that's an athlete, but community builds role models. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, when we were growing up, uh, if you lived in a neighborhood, everybody knew everybody, and the elders interacted with the youth. The coaches, when you play sports, were more involved with what was going on with the kids. So that's what I mean by community builds role models. So there were role models all over the place. Now, don't get me wrong, we still had the dope boys, we still had the athletes, we still had the celebrities. But I just remember growing up that it was easy for me to gravitate towards a role model in my community versus somebody I saw on TV, because I could actually ask them questions. I could get information from them. They would always teach me some form of a lesson, whether it was a teacher in school, whether it was a coach on the basketball court, whether it was a neighbor in my neighborhood. Like Big gave an example a few shows ago about a gentleman that used to cut his lawn, and he didn't even know that he was training Big, but he was. Big took something from that, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, where are our role models at? Where are these people? Why aren't we more visible in the community? Um, I just moved from a neighborhood where I lived there for a little over 10 years, and I only knew one neighbor. That was the man across the street, and that's sad. I would come out, the lady next to me would go out of her way not to speak. The young people next to us were so into what they were doing, they would throw their hands up sometimes, but we never had a conversation. And they live right next to me. So we need to get back to community, because community builds structure, structure builds a neighborhood, and that's what we need, man. Our kids need that. We need that. Um, and like the Sunday music message, the first one I heard is, "We need love." But let's get back to the question. I had to plug my man B out there.
Said that, brother.
Uh, why do you think young people gravitate towards celebrities and musicians, athletes as role models instead of parents, family members, mentors in the community, or teachers?
Let me tell you.
I
Let me tell you. I got to jump on this. Let me tell you why. Because they think it's easy. They look at them and where they are right now, and they don't realize all those years and potentially decades of work that they have put in to get to where they are. And that's what it is. They see the fame. That's what they see. They see the glitz, the glam. They see the fame. They don't see all the work that went behind that. For these athletes and child stars and um, you got some of the girls that do gymnastics and figure skating and all these things. These Olympic athletes that people look up to. They work. Think about this. The dedication of an Olympic athlete. They get one shot, potentially one shot, because they still got to make the team every 4 years. Think about the amount of work that they put in. Some of these kids starting, and they in diapers, and they're starting to swim. They're starting to do gymnastics. They're starting to, track and field when they're that young. They still got to wait. When they start, they 3 or 4 or 5 years old. They can't even compete until they get to a certain age. I don't know if it's 18 or maybe 16, depending on what the category is. But look at the length of time that it takes. And people come and they be great, but all we're seeing is the results and not seeing the work. And that's why people make bad choices, because they think that the people that they look up to, they look at it as easy. And then when they jump in and realize it ain't easy, they try to figure out why not. It's because they put in so much work behind the scenes. And to be a role model, all you got to do is step up and start helping. That's the critical thing that I want to put out into this message today, is that we all can be, because there's always an availability for someone to go out and help someone. So that's my piece.
All right. I'm gonna say that on the other end, as far as the parents, because that goes back to they're the closest things to you as well. So if you don't have, parents that are that much involved in the things you do, the activities you do, your interest, then even though that parent, even if that parent is a provider and they're making sure that you have a roof over your head or whatever, if they don't see that you're giving them that attention, then they draw their attention to someone who they feel as though is, what they see as, quote unquote, that person to model themselves after. And most of the time it is someone that's, out of reach, somebody that's, that has a level of that success that Big is talking about, and that work. They don't see that. They just looking at that they're in a place where I can only imagine myself to be. So they may take on those attributes of that person, and when they do, that means that their whole mindset is about how that person is. And you can't, we all know as as mature adults that you being the person who you are, you still have to work on developing who you are as an individual. You can't just adopt someone else's attributes and traits at the level they're at, and you're still at a level where you're still trying to build, because your building is it's like your personality changes from night to day, and people see that personality shift and like, well, who the hell this person is? You know what I mean? You trying to be this, and you still on that. You still at the ground floor. You got to work your way up, Pop.
What you got to say, Chilla?
I wouldn't say glitter and gold, glitter and gold. We look at it like that, glitter and gold. These dudes, they flow burn like glitter and gold and sell their soul. When you see people wearing all this fancy jewelry and stuff like this, because you got to look at how time changed, man. You look at athletes in the 60s, man, they might have a nice car and stuff like that, and they carry themselves. But today, man, it's like we are attracted to what we see. I mean, you can have a good game, or I just want to play. That's just a game. But when you got an athlete and you flamboyant with yourself, man, when you wear your clothes, if you got swag and you wearing jewelry, you wearing gold, and you got a Rolls Royce, and you got all these nice houses and all these attractive women, man, that there makes you want to be like that. Like, yo, he playing ball, man. He got a Bentley. Yo, he got this. Oh, man, look at the watch. His Rolex. Oh, man, nice suits. $10,000 Gators, this and that, man. And boom, I got to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like glitter and glow, man. Glitter and gold. When you watching these artists, you watching these athletes, you watching these singers, you watching these rappers. I mean, back in the day, you was good just back in the day. They just got a Cadillac. That was it, a Cadillac. In the 60s now, man, it's a whole different thing. You look at MTV, man. You got, my crib, MTV Cribs and stuff. Man, dudes that didn't even have houses like that were renting houses fronting just to show out to the world. Hey, I got it like this. I got a jacuzzi. It's like what we see, we want to have and want to be. So it's like the way they paint this picture. Not all of them like that. And there's some dude statuses that move up like that, but some of them out here fronting, man. But it's just that we got to have this mentality. What we see, we got to be. I'm going to tell you honestly, I look at the culture of people. The culture of people show me a whole lot about people. Because when I look at, I'm just going to say Iraq. I don't mean to say nothing out of character. And we greed over certain things. Well, I'm just making a crazy example right here. Have you ever seen an Arab run into a bank and rob it? Are they worried about paper money? Saying, a federal note. Are they going in there snatching all? You see only two different culture of people that's fiending for that money with a president on it. So it's like you look at other cultures, who are their role models and what they look up to. We got this thing. Success is how much money you got. Success is how big your car is. Success is how much land you got. Success is how big your house is. But success is peace within, man. And we lose the content of our value. And that's where we got this crab mentality. We always want to come up because the same things we talk about good role models or drug dealers out here getting money or somebody who's rapping or somebody who's an athlete, it's always somebody hating on you because of what you have built and achieved. They look at what you got, and there's some people want to stick you, rob you, take you, hate on you, talk about you, because they ain't got the ambition to do what you do to get what they got. But these people, it's so much crazy stuff goes on with this stuff. Even though we're looking for role models and looking for a good example and want our kids to have somebody good to look up. How many kids want to be teachers? How many kids now want to be doctors? How many kids now want to go out here and be a revolutionary person to lead the people out the darkness and tell them to stop selling drugs, stop dissing each other and calling women bees and all this and uprise the people? These are the role models we need in the world. But we glamorize these other people who are not really role models nowadays. A lot of people got negative energy and we like what they doing, but they got us out here doing some dumb stuff behind them. Because it's like this. If a girl get up there and twerk on Jank and say, I want to do a challenge, and she's a great artist, other girls all across the world twerking on Instagram and all that. They ain't doing nothing prosperous. They ain't helping another little child come up. But these are the role models we are following. Whatever they tell us to do is like monkey see, monkey do. And we was in the same generation. If Run said no shoestrings in them, I wore my Adidas with no shoestring. L wore Kango. Whatever they did, we did. These are the role models. So it's like you got to be careful who your role model is, because what you're doing is doing the same thing your role model is. He's a good role model or a bad role model. We got to be conscious of what we like and what we see, because it ain't always what it is. Some of these people who are your role models are miserable and maybe suicidal. But you looking at them because they're on that platform.
Well, I say this. I think being a teacher hasn't been advertised as being sexy in our community. Being a doctor isn't really advertised as being sexy in our community. I think expectations in our community have fallen. And we're looking at the wrong thing to succeed. Like Big is saying, what are the percentages of you being a celebrity or an athlete coming out of school? What are the percentages? So we need to get back to the basics, and we need to focus on, look, everybody can't be a football player. Everybody can't be a basketball player. Everybody's not going to be a rapper. I'm sorry. These young gentlemen coming up, everybody
Yeah.
is not going to be a rapper slash producer.
Well,
And
So
you
well,
know
let
we
me
what?
say
need
this: a
Well,
successful rapper, or
rapper and
but
producer,
but
correct?
we
I,
all could be rappers, but
yeah,
it
but
don't mean we no
this
good.
crazy.
That is true.
And I'm gonna tell you some real talk though. Where Derek just said, man, it's a lot of dudes out here can rap better than some of the artists we look up to. I
Yeah,
swear. I done seen some dudes just as hot as Jay, hot as Nas, hot as all that out here spitting. I done seen dudes who could play better than half of the NBA's cats on the court. Never miss a shot. Day by day. We grew up there watching dudes shoot like that, but they ain't out there. So it's like they had the potential, but they just regular cats like us. It's a lot of great. I done seen comedians better than some of the comedians on stage, right in the street, joking all day, laughing, just like Bernie Mac joking, telling stories 24/7. They ain't on stage. So it's always somebody who got talent that's great. We just seeing a little bit of them up there, but there's a whole bunch of great talent out here singing, rapping, playing ball, all type sports, good at football, baseball, everything. But they ain't, like you say, everybody ain't gonna make it.
You know, one thing I think that could be helpful, we have to have more conversations. Because I'm gonna tell you, and I'm just being honest. From when I was in school, I mean, I made pretty decent grades, but in our community, we look for the tangible, the immediacy of tangibility. And for me, it didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. My parents might have been happy if I got an A and been upset if I got a D. But what did it mean to me then? Now I was on a reward system with my parents. I got paid. When report cards came, you got paid a certain value based on your grade. Down to a C, even got a little something for a C. But when kids are in school, and you talk about being in school for 13 years from kindergarten through 12th grade, if they don't understand what it means to get good grades, what it equates to, the access that it gives you once you leave, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't, because it don't feel like nothing. It just feels like when you go there, you're being graded and rated, but they don't understand that the point of being a good student is something that's going to carry you throughout life, because it will turn into how you take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? But we need to have that conversation, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably needed that conversation. I may have done far better in school if I really understood that these grades right now are going to equate to access to better opportunities going forward. And you hear it from everyone else, but you don't hear it from the people that are close to you in that way. Because for me, it just didn't. And I'm just being honest. And I can't imagine. I was what I would call a kind of a good kid in a sense. You got kids that's out here that really just don't care. It really not affecting them, because it's no tangible. Even at the end of the year, you get to go to the next grade. Okay. I mean, I'm just being real. I'm being real here. Think about what's going through their brains at this point. They need to understand what the position of good grades will do for you. Good grades is a key to if you want to go to college, it's a key to a better university. If you want to go to a trade school, it's probably a key to a better access to a trade school that can get you somewhere, better in life. But without having a conversation of accessibility and tangibility, it doesn't mean much.
You want to say something, Raymond?
Yeah, because what I was gonna say is, building off my experience, my interest is what drew my desire to look at people who were in what I wanted to do, look at their work, not them as a person and their personalities, but their level of skill. That's what made me aspire to want to be a better artist. I mean, to keep it real, I mean, I think different now, but back then I didn't give a damn too much about my grades. My thing was
We know.
just my thing was, it was just that I just wanted to, well, I mean, basically I was just trying to make it, you know what I mean? I didn't want to fail, but it's just, it was that role model to, push me wasn't present, you know, readily right there accessible to me at a convenience. It was just when I was in a place where I had to do the work, there was someone there to say, "Hey, well, keep doing it, keep trying to get, keep at it, because you see that they see that interest there, you know." So that, like I said, going back to those role models, that was just, that I could see on paper, that was what I gravitated to, because I felt like if I could be that great, if I could be that good, then I could go to that level that they're on, But because, like I said, that convenient role model to be able to be there and pour something into, it wasn't there. So that's why the road was harder going up, So that's just, I'm just throwing that out for those people there that can understand that if someone is there that's accessible, then that person can be able to be poured into, and then they can look at somebody and say, yeah, that person wants me to be better than what I am.
That's an
Let me
interesting.
Let's
let
hold
me
up.
Go
I
ask
just
ahead.
you
want
real
Go ahead,
quick.
Chris.
I want to say this, man. But I know we got this topic about black role model, and right now I'm like reflecting to the gentlemen about our age. Are you a role model to your child? What do you do that's a great example for your child? I mean, because you said something a couple of episodes back, Derek, about you ask a woman would they date their son,
Yeah.
and I want to flip that script to all the men. If you got a daughter, would you let a guy just like you date your daughter,
Well, it depends on what
knowing how
stage.
you were?
It
But the
depends.
thing, what I'm saying is, we got to learn how to be role model to our kids. Even this whole conversation is, our kids are looking at all these entertainers, but are we great role models in our house? Because a lot of times our kid mimic at a young age what we do, what we say, how we cuss, how we fuss. If you out here smoking weed and doing all this type stuff, your kid mimics you. So you really, the first role model they grow up looking at, other than entertaining, that's close and tangible to them, are their parents.
So let
Because a
me.
lot of them duplicate and do the things their parents do.
So let me say this. My first child changed my life, and I say that because uh, she made me become a more responsible human being. I realized when she was born that I wasn't the example that I wanted her to see as a parent. And I had to change a lot of things, man, a lot of things. And because I had a girl first, the way I was living, as far as the attitude I had towards women, the attitude I had out here in these streets, needed to change. And I knew that because I wanted her to see a good example. I wanted to be the right role model. And I wanted to take the mistakes I made, the things I did wrong, and I wanted to share that with her so she knew that her father wasn't perfect. One, so she knew that you are allowed to make mistakes, but you need to learn from them. And you need to be a productive citizen in this world. So Chris posed the question, would I date my daughter? I absolutely would, a woman like my daughter, if I was single. Um, because I put in the work to make sure that I raised her the right way and make sure that I was honest with her. And we talked about this a few episodes back too. Being honest with your kids, having those tough discussions because we're not perfect and we don't expect any of our role models to be perfect. But kids can not only learn from our success, they can learn from our mistakes also.
Mm.
That's good. One thing I was gonna add when Raymond was talking, Raymond, I think for you, you knew early on what you wanted to do, and I know for me, and then for a lot of kids, they don't know. They just know they want to succeed. And my thing when I was in school, I was just trying not to fail. I didn't want to be left in the previous grade. That was my biggest fear. It wasn't being at the top of the class. I just didn't want to be left behind. You know what I'm saying? So some kind of way we got to paint the picture so that people want to be the best in that. Because if you want to be the best rapper, why can't you be the best student?
Hmm.
I mean, you should want to be to set the example, because one thing we don't look at, we're all in positions, we're in succession to lead our families at different points in times. Like now, right now, my dad is 87 years old. He ain't as strong as he used to be. He's still pretty sharp, but his body don't do all the things he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. And so it shifts at some point. So you have to, we always talk about the family structure, and I talk about the mother being the blood, the father being the bones. Well, guess what? The kids, you know, are the skin, because what's going to happen when the blood and the bones get old, the skin is going to have to hold it together. And if the kids aren't raised properly, there's so many, and I'm not saying it, I'm just telling you what my dad said. He got a real good friend that he went to school with. And, I don't, I guess he just is so impressed with me and how I deal with them and how I take care of my family, and I make sure that my parents straight. He said that he wished his son was 10% as good as my dad's son, which was me, because I'm the only one. But the thing about it is, you got to remember that when you're raising your children, because when you're raising your kids, one day you're gonna be, if you live through long enough, you're gonna be old enough, and it's gonna be those people that you either raised well or you didn't raise well, that's gonna be the ones that either take care of you or not take care of you. And that's something every parent need to think about. That what are they putting out into the world, and what are your people that you're putting out going to be able to give back to you, but also to the world?
All right. Yeah. I mean, I to go off of what D was talking about as far as being, change, when he had his daughter. Of course, y'all know my flip was when, my brother was killed. Um, that made me look at my life, and my mortality, because when you're that age, it's like, you're not thinking. I mean, and I'm gonna bring it around. You're not thinking about your life as far as, hey, I'm gonna die, because you're young and you're like, hey, I feel like I'm gonna live forever. But once that happened, it made me look at how I was living, and it made me say to myself that, you know, it's time for you to kind of grow up and get yourself together and be somebody that's more responsible, So, and with the lack of uh parental figure and a role model for you know my brother's kids to be able to look at, that's what made me say, well, I need to kind of fulfill that role in a way that it would be looked at, as I'm trying to do the best that I can to be the best person that I can be, that they can see in them. Because if with me being there, it gives them someone access to be able to come to. I mean, as far as how I do things, I mean, it's been an issue with them at years because especially with his oldest, he felt like back in the day I was well, you ain't making that money like that, you making that slow money, you need to make some. I mean, you need to have money coming out your pockets, like like there's like it's pouring out your pockets, you know what I mean? But that was his mindset, when he was younger. As he's gotten older, he's starting to see that, okay, well, hey, I'm still here. I'm still sustaining. And then I'm not saying that in the sense of, okay, well, I'm living, but I'm saying I'm still here providing, I'm still here to be that example of someone who, even though I'm not rich, but I'm not poor either. I'm able to take care of myself and those that are that are around me.
You know
So
what? Go ahead, Raymond. I mean, but you said something that made me think. Sometimes I guess our role model shouldn't be the person that's flamboyant. It might just be the normal person, because the flamboyant person might go to penitentiary for life or end
exactly.
up in the grave, but the normal person got that long striving and joy of life to be lit old. And I think a lot of you fall in the wrong role models, because some of these role models, and you can see the youth out here banging, doing all type stuff, and they just, it's over with. There's a short, that quick, fast life is, it get you quick, fast in jail or quick, fast in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you pick the right person, they doing something, productive, and you can have a nice, nice life and enjoy life. Go to vacations, have a job, or have a business or something. And I think we need to get our community to build these strong black people and build up our community so they can have other things to look at instead of just what TV projects. Because I mean, at one time, TV projected us to be auntie mamas and maids. What you doing, boss? And all that stuff. We had to go from this house person mentality to always being a servant mentality or slave mentality, because these was the images that the actors had to perform just to be successful in music. I mean, in movies way back in the 50s and 40s. They had these negative stereotype for roles. And even though other kids back then, or your mom or dad that was watching that was their role models because they was actors. But their acting was a negative stereotype scenes. Today, we got people who are doing it, things like Tyler Perry and Spike Lee came out, and just like John Singer, who passed away. We got people who are giving black movies the way we wanted to see it. And they are doing good. Some people are doing great jobs with doing these movies. But we got to learn how to start looking in our community, and what can I do to benefit my community? How can I be a role model to these kids who's watching that dope man over there? How can I be a role model to these kids who want to go out here and be gangbangers? How can I be a role model to, correct my, draw attention to these kids to do something more productive with their life instead of destroying and killing each other, or just going out here poisoning the community? How can I be a role model to, be a great example? Because I mean, each one of us here talking, and if we was to die tomorrow, what great example would you want the people to remember of us? We just probably said this on one of the episodes that people ain't seen, but what would be the greatest example that if you passed away tomorrow, that everybody can reflect on you? Dang, he gone, but he did this for the community, or he did that, man, and he helped my child, or he said something inspirational to me, or he did this for us. And do you what tomorrow, if he was to die, what would be the example that the people could say, he was a role model in the end? Do you think you could be reflected as a role model if something was to happen to either one of us tomorrow?
Wow. Well, let me just say this. I got two more questions I want to get in, but before I go into that, let me just say this. The problem with having role models such as celebrities and entertainers, the industry dictates that they behave a certain way in order for them to be successful. So a lot of times these celebrities and entertainers, if they're trying to be successful and take their career to the next level, then they have to do certain things that they may not do otherwise. So a lot of times we as individuals gravitate towards that and look at these people as quote unquote role models, and they might not even be living their true authentic selves.
Mm.
So that's something that, we need to take in consideration. With that being said, I want to ask this question. Why do you think the celebrities and athletes have a problem with being viewed as a role model? Some do, not all, but some have a problem. You'll hear them say, you know, I didn't sign up to be a role model, or I'm not a role model. Why do you think that they have a problem with that?
Because no, I just want to jump in that one because that's what the pressure of being celebrity kind of brings to some people, and they don't want to be viewed as that because it's like, oh well, I no matter where I go, what I do, as soon as I walk out that door, I gotta be this way. I can't switch. I can't flip and be who I am because if I am like that, that exposes me, and then in that exposure, people are gonna view you for who you really are, and when they see that, they may say, "Oh well, I don't want to deal with this person right here because this person he don't care about me as an individual." When you think about people that being a fan to a celebrity, they are taking an emotional investment in that person. So doing that exposes that celebrity to that image that he has to have. He has to wear that mask. He or she has to wear that mask every time that they're around. Every time they see somebody, oh well, I gotta hug the babies. I gotta sign autographs. I got to have a smile on my face all the time when I'm talking to people. I got to be engaged and involved in people, and if that person is like, man, I don't want to be doing this crap, man. I ain't trying to do that mess, man. I just want to do my thing and go on by my way, make my money, go on about my way. And
Well,
it's go for it.
let me ask you this, Raymond. When you become a celebrity, or if you become an artist, or even an athlete, don't you kind of know that you're signing up for this? Also, you realize that to be great, to be viewed as a star, people are gonna look up to you.
But see that's the thing though. I mean, because some people don't look for that other side of the coin because they're thinking more so of what they want. They just want the riches. I mean, you can kiki and ha and smile and go about your way. If that's all you want to do, or all you feel like you can do, then you cool with that. You know what I mean? But for somebody that has to be engaged enough, especially if you're in that entertainment field or athlete, you're gonna have to be that person that's the one that has to do those. Well, I don't want to say have to, but you ought to be one that's willing to, be accessible to people, on a level that they can feel like they like said they're invested in you.
Let me say this. When I There are things that come along with fame and popularity, but when athletes get into sports, they have worked to have a certain lifestyle. They have worked to be able to. They're not thinking about I'm gonna be a role model. They think about am I gonna be the best at what I'm doing, and they want their freedom. You know what I'm saying? They're not looking. I'm not working my butt off day in and day out in this gym and eating right and going to get my rest and all of this so I can go and be a role model. I'm here because I want. This is what I want to do and I want to be the best. So that's why I believe some of them get frustrated because this ain't part of what I wasn't building this. I was building my ability. I wasn't building.
I ain't signed up for this.
I ain't sign up for you and your kid. You should be the role model for your kid. And I'm gonna tell you something. Largely, I agree with them. a, the role model needs to be in close proximity and someone that you can interact with. Right now, parents are getting, because of where we are in the world with the pandemic, parents are having more heavier, tenser, closer interaction with their children, with their schoolwork and all these other things. I keep hearing, people say a lot of things. I'm hearing, and I can understand what they're saying, because when you got to go to work, you got to go to work, and your kid's supposed to be in school, but you still supposed to teach your kids too. It's not just the teachers supposed to teach your kids. You're supposed to be engaged with what they're doing in their work. You have to take a real special interest in everything your kids doing, so they can know that, okay, there's going to be some parameters, there's some guardrails here to keep me on this path. And the one thing we know, the reason they put lines on the street is so that more people can fit and move. Because think about it, if you're on a 2-lane highway, there's 2-lane highways we've been on with people doing 55, 60 miles an hour. That's because of the lines. You take the lines off, and people are going to be doing like 30, because they don't want to run into each other. There's no lines on the street. So what we have to do as parents is put the lines on the street, make it visible, make it clear, so our kids can move faster down a path and feel safe in order to do that. But as far as the athletes, they didn't sign up for that. And some of them are ready and want to be a part of that. But I understand some of them don't want to be that, because that's not why they even got involved. Charles Barkley was one that used to say it all the time, when he was playing in the NBA, and he meant that. And I can understand what he's saying. Look, I worked my butt off to get here. I deserve my choice, my freedom. I worked my butt off to get here, to get this, the good contract, to get the money I want to make. I should be able to do what I want to do. I shouldn't have to be worrying about what your kid is doing. That's your kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's who we got to step up and take that level of responsibility. It's true.
I wanna kind of put the other side of the spectrum to that. All right. As far as the business aspect, if you do sign up for that, to be the athlete, a celebrity, you help the business by being that one that signs that autograph and, hug those kids, because that's maintaining a good relationship with your customer, your consumer, so that's another thing that they have to think about as well. They put in the work and the effort. Yeah, that's true. But you're a part of a business. You are an employee, unless you're going to be, like you say, that vice president of operations or somebody that's in the background making things happen. When you the one that's out there, dunking that ball, dribbling, running out there, it's a business as well. So you have to keep yourself in mind of that as well, because you are a business. You're an employee.
Let me piggyback off of what Raymond said. Just like you said, you are a business. You're a franchise. You a brand. And some companies, if you work or part of that organization, they want you to be a certain way. They don't want you to do something to damage their brand or their franchise. So when you out here an athlete, don't be out here smoking weed. Don't be out here advertising bad. They want you to look a certain way. And these cats just want to be, like, God, hey, it's always perks to getting where you want. Because, see, you're not yourself, because you don't own it. You part of an organization. You work to get there. You just wanted their employees. You just wanted their puppets. So when they ask you, look, we don't need you doing this, and they got the media, and some of them, they build you up in front of the media to look a certain way. They want you to look a certain way. This is part of their whole advertisement of when you are a superstar, especially on that team, and you looking good. They got people who are building you up in the image in front of us. So, yes, when you took on that bag of money to get there, these the perks you got to do to keep, the money and the images. Because when you start getting in trouble and causing a lot of friction, you lose, they can get rid of you. because now you are making a brand and the franchise not looking good, and you bringing a lot of activity negative to us, and this kids that's loving you. Let's push you on out the picture because you don't respect the culture and the brand and the franchise. See, it's more than just you working hard doing it, because there's 1,000 kids working hard out there. Like I said, ain't making it. They feel like you got an opportunity because we chose you. And we putting you on the front line. We can find another one of you because there's 1,000 out there that's playing hard to get here. So everybody who's up there, you know what I'm saying, you got to play you got to play the game. That's what it's called, playing the game. You got to, hey, even though you hate kissing the kids, hey, you got to be all smart. Hey, don't do drugs, don't drink. You got to play that house in for them. You got to be that because they put you on a platform. This is part of the person getting the money and the fame.
No, I mean, it is to the extreme, but Chris has a point. I mean, it is modern. It's a form of modern day slavery. When you're an entertainer, as a black person, when you're an athlete as a black person, it is modern day slavery, if in a sense, because you think about it. In the NFL right now, we had a situation where Haskins got released from the Redskins because this 21, 22-year-old quarterback made a comment about he was in the crowd. He was making a comment on the bench, and I forget what the comment was, but they looked at it in a negative light. But then you have these quote-unquote Caucasian NFL players that do far worse, and they're still on the team. So I just look at it, even in the NBA, I look at certain things. If there were no black players, would you actually have an NBA? If there were no black players, would you actually have an NFL? But the way we are treated is totally different than our Caucasian counterparts. Even in the NFL, there are no black owners in the NFL. There was a situation where Sean Puffy Combs or Sean P. Diddy Combs, whatever he goes by, or Sean Love Combs, whatever he chooses to go by. And Steph Curry put a package together and tried to buy the Carolina Panthers. They got the money, and guess what they did? They raised the cost of the team. So clearly, there is a form of modern day slavery when it comes to sports. And even, I can even say that with the movie industry. So, like Chris said, you have to act a certain way in order to get things done. Even our role model, Bill Cosby, he's in jail right now because he was trying to make history on his own major television network. As soon as that came out, what happens to him? Make a long story short, this 80-some-year-old black blind man is sitting in jail right now. What were you gonna say, Raymond?
I was gonna say, because we all know this, in order for Denzel Washington and Halle Berry to receive their awards, their Academy Awards or Oscar Awards, they had to play negative roles in order to be able to receive that. Out of all the brilliant work that they've done in the past, Halle Berry had to, get up to.
Yeah, to show her titties.
Yeah, and out of all the body of work that Denzel did, he had to play a crooked cop in order for.
He had to take a shell in the anal.
And let's talk about one of the best
There's a
roles.
bunch of anal things going, but he had to take a shell in that one.
And one of the best roles Denzel played was actually Malcolm X, and he received nothing.
Exactly.
Zero.
Exactly.
Well,
let me say this before we move too far. These issues is one of the reasons why you got a guy like Marshawn Lynch that does good work out in the community.
Oh boy, go ahead.
When he come to the media, he don't like the way the media was twisting his words at a certain point, so he stopped talking at the press conferences, and he said, "I'm here.
Yes.
Well, I won't be fine.
Yes.
I'm here. Whatever question they ask him, I'm here.
Yes.
So that I won't be fine." And you know what he was able to do? He was still able to maintain a certain level of him, but he gave them no ammunition to twist. And he still was out in the community doing his thing and helping and being vocal and verbal out there in the community. But he wasn't going to let the media at that point. He was like, I'm here because I don't want to be
But
fired.
see, that's what
Glad
a
you
lot of
mentioned
people don't
that.
look at. Is a lot of people don't look at that the medias are vultures, and they
Can be.
whole game
Can be.
sometimes is to twist up your wording so they can get more views and attention and news and all this, and you could be a great role model and saying something good, but they taking pieces and bits and put it on air, and people like, oh, he said, and he didn't say that, he took it out of context, and there's a whole lot of people they are doing this with, and it's sad, but this is how far that our world and media and community have us as people need to rebel against a lot of this stuff. We need to stand in unity against a lot of this propaganda that they are doing. But the problem is they are separating us and shifting us because it's easy when you divide people to conquer people. And they've been dividing us and shifting us for a while that we don't even know when they're dividing and shifting us. They do this with our celebrities. Even when our celebrities are trying to stand, and like you say, they can't say but so much, and they can't do but so much because they got a noose around their neck because they're loose. Just like even if Nick Cannon, and I'm not saying Nick Cannon was right for what he said, but he stood on what he believed. And the crazy thing, what he said was out of their own literature, their books that one of them had put together, and all he did was say what they had put in their own books and stood on that, and boom, he got in trouble. It's crazy how we can't say something and we without getting in trouble. And today is a lot of things we can't say, and it's things I want to say. And people are like, we got people, oh, you ain't saying this, you ain't doing, because we know what we'll say, what's gonna happen. And,
Let
and,
me
and there's a whole lot of things we want to say.
let me just address that, and I know this is kind of getting away from what the show's topic is about, but I think it needs to be heard. I think whatever platform you have, when somebody says something, that's their opinion. Everybody's getting so offended by what people say, but that's their opinion. And when you take somebody's platform away from them as far as speaking because of what they said, whether you like it or dislike it, you're tampering with freedom of speech. So at that point, you're taking away a freedom. So I think people need to be less sensitive because everybody doesn't think alike. Everybody's not going to always be politically correct. But we fought for freedom of speech, and I think that that should be allowed, whether you like it or dislike it. But people are being shot down for their opinion. So you really want people to walk around and have the same opinion and walk this straight line. But I think it's very important that people's opinions are heard and not always shot down. Because when you take that platform from people, you're taking that freedom from them. I'm just saying that. The only thing that I disagree with that being said, if you yell fire in a building, something that will cause harm to others, physical harm that is, stop being so sensitive. These are just opinions. They cannot do physical harm to you. But moving forward with the wrap up question, um, I want to ask to the panel, um, do you think we have enough positive role models in our community?
All right.
You know what's
It
what I'm sorry, Raymond. Real quick, the real issue is, do we have enough people receptive to the role models that we have? Because they're there. Go ahead, Shine. I'm sorry.
all right. They're yeah, they're there. And yes, if they're involved, yes. But I think the desire to seek positive role models is the issue. You know what I mean? Because if you're if you're a person that just, you know, or you're a youth or someone who is looking for somebody to really be able to look up to, you know, it's society's way of glamorizing the negative that prevents you to see those positive role models, you know, because yeah, it's people out here doing the work there, you know, but then again, like I said, is that sometimes it may be that normal man that just out here just trying to make a living doing the right thing. And no one looks at that as a positive role model because they're thinking, hey, look, he just out here is making a living, you know. So that's why people you know, they overlook those type of individuals, the everyday man that's, you know, contributing to society in the best way he can to just try to make sure that his world is good, you know, and maybe he is contributing and having himself to be accessible to someone to come to him, you know, but because he's just the average Joe, they're like, I'm not really interested in the average Joe. I'm interested in that man that has the attention, the 5,000 subscribers, or the 5,000 friends on Facebook, or the, you know, the thousand or whatever tweets, and he's getting the attention from that, and people liking his, love, putting hearts all on it. Yeah, he says the funniest things, the most off the wall thing. So that's the person that gets the attention, you know, not the person that's just out here. Hey, look, man, I'm just trying to do me. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm trying to do it the right way. You know, they don't look at that as, hey,
I'm gonna piggyback what he said. Like I said, it's role models, but the problem is that the attention they're not getting viewed to the good role models. I mean, even the media, they advertise these negative people. Why you think it ain't no more Martins? Why you think it ain't no more Malcolm X's? Because they don't want strong people who are leading the pathway to be great role models for us. I mean, we got some good examples. That's what I'm gonna call them. Great examples. But strong role models to that we could stand behind and march and have a million man march down down there like it was in DC and doing stuff in our community that's standing strong for us as black people. You know, it's a few of them out here, but they're not getting the spotlight because the way the media they don't want them tight. They don't want us to unify ourselves together to be strong like that. They want to curate and find some bad stuff to break him down so we don't look at him. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did. All us got dark passes. But the thing is, we evolved from our past to now be phoenixes to grow strong in front of the people. See, Malcolm, he had a bad past, but still, for some reason, he was a positive strong man. This man was a junkie, a drug addict, a dealer, selling drugs, and this and that. And then he's a strong man speaking to the people. You can't worry about what somebody did in the past. You got to worry about where that person evolved from. Because if a person's spotless, man, you better question everything about them. See, the problem is, you know, our role models sometimes have to go through some adversities in life just to get to the point so they can be strong to change the people around and say, look, you don't have to go down this road. I went down this road, and I'm going to tell you that's a dark road, and I woke up from out the darkness. I woke from the slob of the pigs, and now I'm walking down this righteous road, and I'm trying to drag y'all and show y'all this is the right way to go. So we all done had issues in our life. It's role models out here, but some of them ain't, you know, maybe had some bad passes. They might been to jail. They might have sold drugs. But they out here now trying to change the community and see from that era and trying to do good. It's the problem that we are looking at these false peoples who standing on these pedestals. That ain't crap, but they draw this illusion like they so perfect and have no flaw. You look deep enough, and if you go behind the curtains, you're going to see it that they got some flaws. Sometimes, you know, we got to look at what we got in front of us. Some people are trying to show us the right ways to go. It's great. It's a lot of role models out here. You ain't got to look at somebody on TV to be a role model. Sometimes it's a role model in your house who's working hard all the time, who's telling you to turn that TV off, who's telling you to put your head in them books, who's telling you to go out here and do something in the community, who's trying to show you how to pay your bills, who's trying to show you how to be a productive young man to cut grass and do stuff. But that ain't the role model you want. You want this fake dude that's out here flossing. But like I said, it's role models out here. But I'm going to tell you something that's better. Sometimes take a piece from every person that you see do good and put it in you. If you see that man do that, oh, he cut his grass. You see that man, oh, he take out his trash. You see that man, oh, he got a business. Oh, you see that man, okay, you know, he do back to the community. You see that man, oh, he's out there helping the kids play baseball. If you don't see everything in one, why won't you be that one to pick up something out of each one of the good things you see out of somebody and put it in you and do so you can be the best role model? Put all your energy in and being the best role model that's going to shine through your whole neighborhood.
Big.
know, I bring it back to the parents. You know, parents. I mean, I know it's sometimes a hard job. It takes 3 incomes right now sometimes just to raise a family, but you still can't. You still got to have parameters. Even you got to leave notes for your children to do certain things. Structure is the most important thing that shapes people. Rules and consequences are important, and we cannot negate that because those are the problems that happens when we got some kids in school that they don't have no rules at home, so they don't think they need to have no rules nowhere, and that's the problem. So parents, please pick up. Be your child's first role model. We need parents to be parents and not be friends.
Wow, powerful. I want to say this. Parents, I know we get consumed in the day to day and we're out here trying to provide for our family, but remember, we have these young human beings that we're raising and they're taking in everything that we do. I would suggest that you take a moment out and just share different experiences, have conversations with them, talk about important things that they might endure during life. These moments can't be replaced, and that's where the role model starts. Teachers, don't just look at your job as a paycheck. I often hear parents say that they want to send their kids to the white schools because they'll get a better education. I will say this: how can you learn and get a better education from somebody that doesn't look like you, that can't relate to the issues you may be going through? The problem is in our community, our teachers are so frustrated. They're dealing with not only trying to teach, but trying to make sure that the kids aren't fighting, trying to make sure that the girls are engaged and not in the bathroom putting makeup, trying to make sure that the boys aren't in the bathroom smoking weed. So if we can get the teachers and parents on the same page and they can work together, I guarantee you we can get better education in our schools. And that way we don't have to send our kids to another neighborhood to learn. Um, this has been a great show, gentlemen. I appreciate your interaction. I'll say this: uh, the role model is a very important influence in our community. We need positive role models, whether it's someone that you can talk to every day or whether, like Raymond said, it's somebody you can view with a skill that you're interested in and you want to be like them. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Brother Shine to sum up the show.
Well, bro, again, you summed it up better. You summed it up in that those final words there. I'll just end with the posing of the question is, hey, where are our role models at? That's a question for y'all out there. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna say one more thing. Rest in peace to marvelous Marvin Hagler. One of the best that ever done it in the field of fisticuffs. You know what I mean? All right. And with that said, I'm gonna turn it back over to my man D Jones so he can do what he does best.
Hey, everybody, we're here for the community. We're here to give our opinions about what's going on in our community. And I got one thing to say. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established.
This has been another episode of the Get Established Show. Today's topic being, where are our role models? I want you to think deeply about that and how you can be and how maybe you can do some better things in your household to model for you and your children and your nieces and nephews and the kids in the neighborhood. We need adults to step up and be a part of these kids' lives so we can have a better future here in this country. And we also like you guys to continue to tune in. We got some great things coming on down the pike. So with that being said, from your favorite internet uncles, this has been the Get Established Show. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you know when we're on. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being with us.
You seeing old big cars, man. I'm looking like some toy car. I see a old 98 with some rims way up here, and I'm looking up at the dude like, what the hell?
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? This ain't no truck.
a perfect example of success is you painting M&Ms on your damn car. You got rims on that jank. You got a damn system that people hear the freaking street vibrating at there going in there, and then you got
dudes.
You know what I mean?
They had this
It got
name.
dudes.
That's
Listen,
excessive as
it
hell,
got
man.
dudes. Listen, check it out. It got dudes. It got speakers outside their car when the windows is rolled up, so you can hear what they playing, flying to you. While they got a system inside the car, they got speakers outside the car for you to hear what they playing as they riding past.
It's
For attention.
It's about show. It's a meme where this cat got.
It's like you want people to notice you so bad that you would go to the stream to do anything to get that attention.
What you about to say, D?
And it's crazy.
It's a meme where this guy got some new rims on his ride. So he pull up to the stoplight. He roll his window down. And he asked the people next to him how my rims look. Because he can't see them. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point. You put rims on your car, you can't see them. So you got to ask somebody else how they look.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, that spills into what I'm talking about with Black Pride. So that's gonna be something that that I'm gonna gloss over.
I mean, like I said, we go out. They do some outlandish stuff.